This is in memory of Jared Orchen, and today we're going to learn from the Parsha of the week. Why are we going to learn the Parsha of the week? Because we have online a whole series of Parshas, and Parshat Tzav we never had a video on. And today we'll learn about Parshat Tzav. But today we will be a special review of what is speaking Shabbos. And it will end with Parshat Tzav, but we'll go on a journey in the Bible. But to go on the journey in the Bible, we will speak about an interesting thing about the Bible. King Moses, before he died, he speaks about the Torah, and he gives the Torah a very interesting name. He describes the Torah in an unusual way. On page 1333, number 19. Number 19. Now,
God's testimony for the future. Now, write for yourselves this song in Parshas Haazinu.
write for yourself the song. V'atu kisvu lachem es hashira azot. What shira? Song. What it refers to the Torah. Moses names the Torah as a song. What lays behind this word? A song. When somebody sings a song, and if he's a good singer, the crowd screams encore, right? What is encore? Encore. You want more, or you want the same thing again? Again, right? You ever heard a crowd screaming to a rabbi, "Encore! We want the speech again"? I never met such a thing. Moses wanted that the Torah should be a song. Should be singing like a song, because a song you remember. Any prayer you sing it, you remember. Anything it's not sung, nobody knows. Judaism wanted the Torah. You need to understand, the Torah was very. How many people had the book? The only way to remember the Torah is reviewing it again and again and again in a song. From this comes the concept that's called trop. What is trop? The cantillations of how to read the Torah with a tune. Now, the tune was evolved. Some people say it comes from Sinai. Some opinions say it's evolved. They were two different tunes, complete different ones. One in Babylon and one in Israel. And it's already 1,000 years that more or less it's one type of tune. Kind of, not really, but it's more unified. That in the beginning it was just a tune. You need to understand the Torah itself does not have any punctuations. You don't know where the sentence begins, where the sentence ends. The tune helps you to understand what's going on. How to start the sentence, where to end. By the tune, you know, sof pasuk, you know where to end it. Not only this, the tune gives you an understanding of the verse. Is it a question? Is it an answer? The contact, how to understand the verse, the story, the tune helps you with it. Over the years, the Jewish people made to the tunes two things. They wrote a language to the tunes. You see, in top of the letters or underneath of the letters, there is all the signs in the Hebrew side of the Chumash. See, for example, on page 1, this page, in top of the page, Vayomer Hashem. In top there is a line on one side and a line on the other side, in top of the two letters. Mercha Tipcha. The two words, Vayomer Hashem.
Kadma va'azla.
Kadma va'azla. Then you have these lines are telling you how to read. That's called trop. They tell you how to read the Torah. Now inside the Torah, the lines don't appear. You have to review it before, And when you read on the Torah, you have to be able to remember that. Now, that they wrote, if you want to call it's musical notes. That's the musical notes that they made. Not only they make musical notes, they gave the musical notes names. Where you see the names? You see it in the beginning of the Torah. In the beginning of this Chumash, there is printed the names for it. One page before page 1, before page 2. Go to
Before page
no.
XL.
Oh, no, it's before.
2 pages before page XL.
XXI.
Okay, before page XL. Trying to find as well.
2 pages before the page
Okay.
XL.
You see it? Here is the page.
Oh, but you're looking at cancellation marks.
There's no page there.
No page number.
Move further.
2 pages before page XL.
Further. That's it, one more.
Cancellation.
Good. Very good, yeah. Found it? Okay. If you look at this, you see cancellation marks. Where are you going? You're on the right page.
Yeah, but it doesn't tell you anything.
It just says the name of them.
Name of them and the tune.
You see cancellation marks?
I do.
That's it, don't go anywhere.
Okay. Just can't read anything.
I know. That's in Hebrew, the names for the notes. The note is in top or in the bottom. Pashto, Munach, Zarko. That's how there is a Pashto, then there is Munach, Zarko, Munach, Segol, and everyone has a tone. May I give them a performance? What? No?
Pashta munach zarka, munach sago, munach ravi. Mapach pashta zakev katan zakev gadol, merchati pra munach esnachta.
No? Go and do Shalsheles. Okay, this is the concept. Now, this tells you what, when you look in the Chumash, you see the notes that they gave the tune, Judaism wrote a language, notes, and gave the notes names in top of it. One of the notes, one of the cantellations is a very rare one. One line before the end, the last word, Shalsheles. See the word? Shalsheles, right here. Right?
That's the number 4.
Yes. The Shalsheles is like, as he said it now, it goes it's a long tune.
Shalsheles.
That's it, not too much. It's too possessed. Possessed, Shalsheles. In any case, this cantillation, you see the line, the top of the Shalsheles, the style, the symbol?
Squiggly.
Yeah. This shows up in the Torah only 4 times. And that's what we're going to speak about it today. Where and why. And sometimes the Shalsheles, the tune, the trope, links the connection between all 4 stories to understand what stands behind the 4 stories. The first time the Shalsheles shows up is in Parshat Tzav. In the book of Genesis, the story is page 105. The story is about Lot. Lot was Abraham's nephew, right? Lot came out from Haran. He joined Abraham to the land of Israel. They came to Israel, it was a famine, they went to Egypt, right? Abraham came out from Egypt rich, Lot came out from Egypt rich too. The moment Lot came out from rich, he became more arrogant and he started to behave not the right way. To a point that Abraham told them, it's not a good idea that both of us will be together. You go, let's separate. You go to the right, I'll go to the left. Let's separate. My shepherds and your shepherds are not working together. It's not good. They separated. Lot looked around. where he chose to live?
Sodom and Gomorrah.
In Sodom. Why? Sodom was a booming place. Economy in Sodom was amazing. Life was good. And when life is too good, people become arrogant and selfish. And what is happening? In Sodom, they made a rule that nobody is allowed to give charity. It was outlawed. Anybody who is caught giving charity deserves that. God couldn't take it. That it was in the beginning a war between 5 kings and 4 kings, and Sodom was captured, and Abraham saved them once. Then it was again, God told Abraham, I'm going to destroy Sodom. One day, two angels show up in Sodom. At that time, Lot was already a big macher in Sodom. He was a judge. He was a big macher. His daughters were married to local people. He built up his life in Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's read from inside, page 105. Go ahead. Top of the page.
2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, one to destroy and one to save Lot that day. Lot was anointed to be the chief judge at the gate of Sodom. Lot always looked for guests, so he saw them. He went up to greet them and prostrated himself face to the ground. He said, Look now, my lords, please go inconspicuously to your servant's house. Stay overnight, wash your feet, and you can get up early and go on your way. They said, No, we will stay overnight in the street. He urged them strongly, so that they went inconspicuously towards his house. When they came to his house, he made them a feast, and he baked matzahs, since it was Pesach, and they ate. Before they went to bed, they were talking about the wickedness of the people in the city.
Okay, Mark, you want to continue?
The people of Sodom surrounded the house, both young and old, the entire population from every end of the city without exception. They called out to Lot, saying to him, Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, let us sodomize them. Well, that's a Rashi thing. Lot came out to them at the entrance, and he shut the door behind him. He said, My brothers, please don't act wickedly. Look, I have 2 daughters who have never known a man. I'll bring them out to you. You can do to them as you fit. But don't do anything to these men, because they have come under the shelter of my roof. They said, Get out of the way. In response to his protection of his visitors, he said, You are one single person who has come from foreign parts to live here, and now you are rebuking us. Now we'll treat you worse than them. They pushed hard on the man, on Lot, and they came forward to break the door.
Okay, Martello, continue.
The angels stretched their hands out, brought Lot to them in the house, and they shut the door. They struck the men who were at the entrance of the house with a plague of blindness, young and old alike, who toiled in vain to find the entrance. The angel said to Lot, Who else do you have here? A son-in-law? Your own sons? Your daughters? Get anyone you have in the city out of the area, for we are going to destroy this place. Since the people's outcry is great before God, God has sent us to destroy it.
Here they tell him that they came to Sodom to destroy the place. They give him the news. He was just appointed to be a leader. Build himself a new home. Married off his daughters to local people. His whole life is in Sodom. They tell him, this is it. Continue. So Lot.
So Lot went and spoke to his 2 sons-in-law and the fiancés of his daughters. He said, Get moving and get out of here. God is destroying the city. But he seemed like a comedian in the eyes of his sons-in-law.
Mm-hmm. Continue. You want to continue?
Lot is saved, Sodom and Gomorrah are destroyed. As the dawn was breaking, the angels hurried Lot, saying, Get up and take your wife and your 2 daughters who are willing to come, so that you won't be wiped out because of the city's sins. In trying to save his money, he was delayed.
He was delayed. Out of God's pity, continue, I'm sorry.
Out of God's pity for him, the angels took hold of his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters, and they took him out, placing him outside the city.
Okay, here we go. Lot, they told Lot, get out, quick, it's destroying. He delayed, he hesitated. And the word of Vaitma'ama in Hebrew, it comes here in this line, right after the verse Tet Zayin, you see, Vaitma'ama. Vaitma'ama is right here, Vaitma'ama.
Oh, I see it.
On the top of the Vaitma'ama, you want to show him where it is? Vaitma'ama?
I couldn't find it.
Almost right in the middle.
Right here?
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, sure.
right there.
Okay.
In top of the word Vaitma'ama,
Yeah, there's one of those little.
there is a Shalsheles.
Shalsheles.
Vaitma'ama. Why was he? What was the Shalsheles? And he hesitated. He had a dilemma. What should he do? Should he go or should he stay? It was a very hard decision to make, and he couldn't make it. They had to pick him up and put him out of town. Him and his wife and his daughters. If not, they would be destroyed too. That's the first time there is a Shalshelet in the Torah. And the word Vaitma'ama. Lot was not sure what to do, and he had to make a quick decision. Here, the angels helped him.
Is that the original Torah script? Is what you're saying? The original Torah that was there? Or was that
But
added?
whenever the tune was put together,
Okay,
there is only 4 Shalsheles.
okay.
1,000 years, 1,500 years,
Yeah.
2,000. It's for sure very,
The
very old.
Masoretes were putting this together 1,000 years ago.
Thousands, yes, for sure. Yeah, the people who did it, actually, good point you make, the people who really organized it together are the people from Tiberia, 1,000 years ago, who were big, they were keeping the Masoret. They were counting every word, and they actually kept also, there is the famous Bible, I forgot what the name is, the Bible of,
Yes, from
Ben-
Syria.
yeah. The Bible from Syria, and how it came to Syria from Israel, from
Israel.
Tiberia. What was the name of it? I forgot.
The one with all the
It's
props.
Leningrad Codex is not the one. The other one is the not Sinai Codex.
Ben something. Ben Shalom, Ben Yaakov.
It's the text that's used today. For
Yeah,
the,
that
for
everything
the
is
other
based
Bible.
on it.
Uh-huh.
It's a whole discussion about it too, but yeah, in general, basically these people in Tiberias 1,000 years ago, they put together everything together. They are the final say on these issues, on the tune, on every word in the Torah, what is the correct spelling, and so on and on.
And Tiberias is part of what's now Israel or is
Yeah,
other
it's
country?
Yeah.
around like Gal, like
It's in the Israeli, in the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, owns this Chumash from 1,000 years ago. But the sad part is Tanakh, I forgot. The sad part is that it was in Syria for hundreds of years. The Jews in Syria gave their life to protect it. When they finally brought it to Israel, some people stole some pages and sold it.
I think a third of it's missing. Something.
Yeah. I have to remember the name. 1 second.
The city you've heard in Syria in the news not too long ago. It just escapes me.
It's news because they found something or?
Yeah, the Bible got moved there, and so it's called by that name because that's where the text ended up.
Did they ever recover the missing pages?
No, missing pages have never been recovered.
Some of them are recorded.
So they had to
What's the
use a
name of the
different
Syrian
text, the
Bible?
Leningrad Codex, which was about a few years later, basically to kind of supplement the Codex as a book before they had paper.
I thought the codex was like.
Aram Tzova. Keter Aram Tzova.
What's it called?
Keter Aram Tzova, in Hebrew at least.
Yeah, what is it?
Aram Tzova is the biblical name for Syria.
Mhm.
Yeah. But in English, there's a different name, I
Yeah,
know.
different name.
Yes. In any case, this is the first time there is a Shalshelet. The second time is one parsha later. The story with Abraham, and Abraham calls his servant, right? On page 139, Abraham called his servant and tells them, I want you to look for a shidduch for my son Isaac. What's the name of the servant? Eliezer. Page 139. Then we read the story. Abraham was old. Mr. Olgen, you want to start to read it?
Okay.
Chapter 24.
Right. Abraham was old, but still immersed in the daily life. God had blessed Abraham with everything, including a son. Abraham said to his servant, the senior member of the house, who was in charge of everything he had, please place your hand under my thigh and swear an oath. I would make you swear by God, the God of the heavens and the God of the earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites amongst whom I live. Rather, you should go to my land, my birthplace, and you will take a wife for my son Yitzchak. The servant said to him, what if the woman will not want to follow me to this land? Shall I take your son back to the land from where you came?
You see, he's asking a strange question. Usually he tells them, go find a shidduch. Fine, go. What if you will not want to go? And if you... What is your business? What is this? That Rashi says there is a reason why Eliezer was so interested in what if not. In general, if you want to make sure something doesn't work, you start to if. And if not, you start to open your mouth. You are predicting the bad future. It's written, there is a saying in Judaism, Al tiftach peh la satan. Do not open your mouth for the Satan. Don't give him an opening. Don't predict the bad side. Here, what if she will not want to go? Who asked you to if me? I asked you to go. Go. Why? Rashi says, I'll close mine too, that Eliezer had a daughter, and he wanted to marry Isaac's son. Eliezer wanted to be a mechutonim. It's a word that says exists only in Hebrew and in Yiddish. No word in English for mechutonim. How you call your child's in-laws? There's no name for them. It's my child's in-laws. There's no name. In Hebrew there is a name. In Yiddish there is a name, mechuton. Eliezer wanted to be a mechuton with Abraham. He wanted his grandchildren should be the grandchildren of Abraham too. Very nice. But guess what? Abraham told them, it's all nice and fine. You're a good guy. You're a wonderful guy. But you are a descendant of Canaan, of Ham, and I am a descendant of Shem. Right? The two sons of Noah, Shem and Ham. And Ham was cursed, and Shem was blessed. And it doesn't go together. Basically, the idea that to marry within the family started by Abraham. That he says, you're all nice and fine. Eliezer was his closest person, and he trusted him with everything. He told them, but for marriage, it's a different story. But now Eliezer is on the road, and he's traveling. We'll turn the page. And Eliezer's successful trip, page 141. Right? Continue.
The servant took 10 camels from his master's stock of muzzled camels, and he left. In his hand was all his master's belongings. He set out and went to Aram Naharaim, Nahor's city. He made the camels lie down outside the city, beside the well of water, towards the evening time when the girls go out to draw water. He said, here
he had a prayer. Go ahead.
He said, O God, the God of my master Abraham, please let something happen to me today and do kindness to my master Abraham. Look, I am standing by the water well. The daughters of this city's residents are coming out to draw water. If I say to a girl, please tilt down your pitcher and let me drink, and she says, drink and I will also give you your camels to drink, she will be fit to be chosen by you for your servant, for Yitzhak, since she performs acts of kindness. If she is from the right family and shows kindness, I will know that through her you have acted kindly with my master.
Okay, let's stop right here. He made a whole prayer. God should give him a sign. Who is the goal? How is he going to know who is from the family of Abraham? What's the whole city? Because he can spend a week here. Then he gave her a sign. He prayed to God. And for a prayer to be answered, it has to be sincere. Right? Even if a sincere prayer not always is answered. But if you want the prayer, the number one ingredient for a prayer to be answered is you really mean it. But here Eliezer had a problem. His heart was like split it in half. On one hand, he wants his mission to be successful. He wants Isaac to find a shidduch from Abraham's family because that's what Abraham's wish. On the other hand, if not, he has a better chance. He had a dilemma. He overcame his dilemma and he decided to pray to God wholeheartedly. On the beginning of his prayer, Vayomar, and he said, on the second line, on page 142 in the Hebrew side, on the second line, in the beginning of the sentence, Vayomar, there is in top of it a Shalsheles. See it?
Yeah.
Vayomar Hashem Elokei Adoni. Then that here he had to overcome a crisis, to overcome a dilemma, hesitation. Yes or no? Should I pray? Would I really wish that it's going to be successful, or maybe not? He agreed. He came to conclusion in peace with himself that he really wants that his mission should be successful, and Isaac should find a shidduch from his own family. That's the second Shalsheles in the Torah. Now we move to the third one. Going to page 261. The story of Joseph. No matter what topic you talk about in the Torah, you almost can never run away from the story of Joseph. It's such a trauma that everything in the Torah is connected to it. Joseph was sold by his brothers, hated, sold. I came lately to the conclusion, and all happened because Rachel died. If Rachel would be alive, everything would be different. It would never happen. She would keep the house together, the family together. She would make sure everything is in place. Rachel died, the whole house fell apart. From the point of Jacob was not the same person. The whole thing. Other people took control. The kids took control of the house, and that's what happened. They sold Joseph. They wanted to kill him, right? Lucky Joseph, they didn't kill him. They sold him. Joseph is in Egypt. He has nowhere to look back. He's not going back. His future is Egypt, right? That's his future. God blessed him. He was sold to a very powerful man as a slave. Who is Potiphar?
Is
The chief executioner. You can just imagine that was number 2 after Pharaoh. The chief executioner in Egypt was the guy that everybody was afraid of him, and could be Pharaoh himself. But let's read now, page 261, top of the page.
Joseph in Potiphar's house. Joseph had been brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, Pharaoh's officer, chief of the butchers, a native Egyptian, purchased him from the Arabs who had brought him down here. God was with Joseph, and he became a successful person while he was in the house of his Egyptian master. His master saw that the name of God was always on his lips, and that whatever he put his hand to, God made successful. Joseph found favor in his master's eyes, and he attended to him personally. Potiphar appointed him over his house, and he gave everything he had into Joseph's hand. What happened was that from the time that he appointed Joseph over his house and over everything he had, God blessed the house of the Egyptian because of Joseph. God's blessing was found in everything he had, in the house and in the field. He left everything he had in Joseph's hand, and he didn't care to know about anything of his except the crumpet that he ate. Since Joseph was in control, he pampered himself so. Joseph had handsome features and a beautiful complexion. God said, "You are pampering yourself while your father mourns. I will incite the Potiphar's wife against you."
Okay, so far, life is beautiful. He's by the strongest men in Egypt, and he became the CEO, the head of the whole operation. Everything in the house, he trusts Joseph. And whatever Joseph is doing is successful. Then Joseph, in his own life, where is his future? In Egypt, right? He has nowhere to go. He cannot go back to Israel. And in Egypt, he has a job opportunity, an amazing job opportunity. He's a slave, the strongest person in Egypt, and life is great. And he's successful, and he gave him the best job there. Beautiful. Go ahead. Here starts the problems.
Which line are we on?
Seven.
Number 7.
Next. Number 7.
Then, after these words of God, his master's wife cast her eyes on Joseph, and she said, "Sleep with me."
Simple as that.
But he refused. He said to his master's wife, "Look, my master doesn't care to know about any of my affairs in this house, and he has given everything that's his into my hand."
Now I'm asking you. She, the master's wife, is asking for him to do it. To refuse. Is this a smart move? Now in Egypt, you better be like an Egyptian, so to speak. You cannot go back to Israel. If he refuses to his wife's master, what end up later? Because of that, she accused them of rape, right? And he ended up in jail for 12 years, you know that? Joseph, because he refused to the master's wife, he ended up in jail. Let's read a little further. Go ahead, continue.
"In this house there's no one greater than me, and he has not withheld anything from me except you, since you're his wife. So how could I do this extremely wicked act and sin against God?" When she would speak to Joseph day in and day out, he would not listen to her, even to lie in the same bed as her, or to be with her. Then, when a certain religious holiday arrived, Joseph came to the house to do his business. And none of the members of the house were there in the house, since they had all gone to the temple of idolatry. She grabbed him by his clothes, saying, "Sleep with me." Joseph dashed off and went outside, leaving his clothes in her hand.
Okay, continue, Mark.
Then, when she saw that he had left his clothes in her hand, and they had dashed outside, she called the members of her house and spoke to them, saying, "See, my husband brought us a Hebrew man who depraved us. He came to me to lie with me, but I called loudly, and so when he heard that, I raised my voice and screamed. He left his clothes with me and dashed off outside."
Okay. She accused them for trying to rape, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the outcome? Continue.
She left his clothes beside her until Joseph's master came home. Then she told him the same thing again, saying, "The Hebrew slave that you brought us came to me to deprave me, and then when I raised my voice and screamed, he left his clothes with me and dashed outside." Then when Joseph's master heard his wife's report, which she told him, saying, "Your slave did this thing like this to me," he became furious. Joseph's master took him and put him into prison, the place where the king's prisoners were
he put him in his prison he put him in prison. The Joseph, for trying to do the right thing, not for trying, for doing the right thing, end up in prison for 12 years. 12 years. But,
But if he had done it, he would have
Yeah.
been executed.
no, not necessarily.
Okay.
Nobody would have found out.
Nobody would find out. I think it was I can tell you,
But
that
it's
in
against
Egypt,
the rules. I mean,
who says there was the rules in Egypt?
Where do you think the movie The Graduate got its ideas from? It's this story exactly, and they changed the plot, because he sleeps with the.
Now, let's turn the page back. This word in number 8, but he refused, and the word refused, it's in the Hebrew side, vayema'en. Found it? No, it's higher. Vayemen is here. Chet, where is the verse Chet?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
See Vayemen?
7,
Vayemoen. And he refused. The Torah knows it was a big decision. Very hard to make this decision. He had to overcome everything, all his gather every power he had. Because he had no righteousness point of view, he's away from his family, he's divorced from his family. His future is in Egypt. Now he's killing his future in Egypt too. Now he really has nowhere to go. It's almost like when Esther went to the king. She knew she's risking her life. Same thing is here. This hesitation that he had to be with her, to refuse, and he did never hesitate. It's written that he came to the house and he almost did it because she so seduced him so hard. But then he looked in the window and Joseph looked just like his grandfather, just like his father Jacob. And he saw Jacob. And when he saw Jacob, he thought to himself, he remembered his father. He stood in front of his father. So how could he do such a thing? That saved his life. That saved him. That was the third Shalsheles. The big decision that had to be taken place. Yes or no? I'm on this side or on this side? The fourth Shalsheles is in Parshat Tzav. The Parshat that we just learned this Shabbos. And the fourth and the last one, that's it, there is no more in the Torah. And I'm telling you not because I know all the Shalsheles in the Torah, I remember because I read it for somebody who knows. Then I will not take credit for it.
So the people from Tiberias really knew this well.
You
Backwards
can
and
say
forwards,
this
up and down.
again, my
I mean,
friend.
really.
They were the Bible scholars, literally. They put it together.
Yeah.
They had to go over all the errors and prior editions and things like that and standardize the text.
I see.
I thought the text was standardized from the very first one.
Still, it was. There is an argument about a few words, how you spell it in a way that does not make them different in the meaning of the word. There is, I think, 4 words or 7 words that there is argument. Spell it with a vav, without a vav, things that
Hey
doesn't.
or Aleph.
Huh?
It's a hey or an Aleph at the end.
Only one word, 10 and a half.
But wasn't the Torah kept letter for letter?
Yes, but still, because it was from so many countries, and they came together, somebody had to clean it up, so to speak.
Mention how many copyist errors there were before they really standardized
Yeah.
it.
Even today, there is a computer that checks mezuzahs, film, and sefer Torahs. That the computer program finds mistakes that 10 scribes cannot catch. 10 scribes. You take a mezuzah, you give it to 10 scribes. That's their business. That's their job. They check the mezuzah, check. Good. Put in the computer, extra vav. Because a human being has 10% error, something like this. They say the best person who checks. You're talking about human beings wrote the Torah, not angels. So they made mistakes, but it was different mistake. The great rabbis had to sit together and from enough copies to come to the conclusion what's the right version of every verse. Again, it wasn't mistakes, big mistakes, but in spelling. In this page, you can write otam with a vav, you can write otam without a vav. Sometimes E is U, sometimes U is E. It's complicated. The fourth time is on Parshat Tzav, page 665. Yeah. This parsha, Vayikra, the whole book of Leviticus, is coming after the second part of the book of Shemot. What was the second part of the book of Shemot? Building a sanctuary for God. Why you build a sanctuary for God? Because of an atonement for the golden calf. Right? In the sanctuary for God are going to be put in, what are going to put in there? The Ark of the Covenant. And this will be the place of sacrificing. The holiest place on earth. A home for God on earth. What could be bigger than that? That the Jewish people, a day after Yom Kippur, Moses is coming down, and he tells the Jews, made a big fundraiser, let's build a temple. Yeah? And in 2 days, the fundraising was done. All the money was given, and Moses said, enough, I have too much money, too much stuff. Okay, if too much is too much, we'll not bring you more. They put together the temple, and they built it, and came Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Actually, Rosh Chodesh Nisan is not this Shabbos, next Shabbos. Rosh Chodesh Nisan came, the beginning of the month of Nisan, and it was the inauguration of the temple. And 7 days Moses was putting together the temple. He was dedicating the temple himself, and the team and the people who serve in the temple. Who are the people who serve in the temple? Aaron and his sons. This thing is really making Aaron to be the high priest, and his sons the priest, the Kohanes. He was Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and his sons were Kohen Ediot, the regular priests. And to how they dedicate them, God said to make special clothing. Every Kohen used to wear 4 pieces of garment. The high priest was wearing 8 pieces of garment with the breastplate and the tzitz and the forehead and a special head. That was a whole operation. And Moses has to dedicate the temple, not anybody else. 7 days they're taking the saw, putting together, putting together to train themselves, because it was a portable temple that they needed to know how to fold it and build it. That on page 665, we read a little bit about the inauguration of the temple. Marta, you want to read?
God spoke to Moshe, saying, take Aharon and persuade him to come along with his sons, take the garments, the anointing oil, the sin offering bowl, the 2 rams, and the basket of unleavened bread, and assemble the entire community at the entrance of the tent of meeting.
Bring the entire community. And, go ahead, Moshe.
Moshe did as God had commanded him. The community assembled at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Moshe said to the community, these things that I'm about to perform before you, God has commanded me to do. Moshe brought Aharon and his sons near and immersed them in water. He placed the tunic upon Aharon, girded him with the sash, clothed him with the robe, placed the apron upon him, girded him with the decorative band of the apron, and adorned him with it. He placed the breastplate upon him, and he inserted the Urim, the Tumim.
Okay, basically he got Aaron, and he dressed him up, and then he went ahead with his sons, and he put him, if the next page you see, he puts it on his head, the special hat, and then he took oil on number 10. Moshe took, Mr. Gavin, you want to read number 10?
Excuse me. Moshe took the anointing oil and anointed the sanctuary and everything inside it, and thus sanctified it. He sprinkled from the anointing oil upon the altar 7 times. He anointed the altar and all its apparatus, as well as the washstand and its base, to sanctify them.
Okay, he anointed the Kohanes, he anointed the temple, he anointed the sacrifices. Go ahead, one more.
He poured some of the anointing oil upon Aaron's head and anointed him to sanctify him.
Yeah, he poured on Aaron's head and he sanctified him. Then he continued to do what? Moshe brought Aaron's sons.
Moshe brought Aaron's sons near and clothed them with tunics, girded them with sashes, and tied high hats, turbans on them, as God had commanded Moshe.
Very good. Then in number 15, you read that Moses slaughtered, there was 3 sacrifices to be brought to the temple on the day. It's written in number 15, Moshe slaughtered one animal, right?
Right. And
That's number 15. Then it's written number 19, he slaughtered another animal. Moshe slaughtered it and dashed it on the sacrifice. Then he comes to the 3rd sacrifice on page 669. The 3rd and last sacrifice, number 23. Moshe slaughtered it. If you look on the Hebrew side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines from the top, It's beginning a new sentence. Vayishchat, and he slaughtered. In top of the word, there is a shalshelet. Vayishchat. What's a shalsheles?
Paul hesitated.
Moses hesitated. What was he hesitating?
He wasn't a priest.
Oh, and some people say he hesitated because he had to give over the control over the temple and he's not the high priest. Because it's written in the Medrash that how Moses was supposed to be also the high priest in the beginning. When he lost it. He lost it. When Moses met God the first time at the burning bush, Moses said, no, I don't. Well, what was Moses' excuse?
He was slow of speech.
Slow speech. What God told them? Therefore, what should I do? What are you going to
Give
do?
you Aaron.
I'll give you Aaron, right? And Aaron will help you. Give you Aaron, right? I wanted to give you to be the king and the high priest. You don't want. Give Aaron to be the high priest. You don't want the full job? Fine, we'll split it. Aaron. That's when Aaron became that's when Moses lost it, the Medrash says, and Aaron got it. Here it's becomes the reality of it. But to say that Moses was hesitating for personal purposes, we expect from Moses better than that. Moses was ready to give his life for the Jewish people and told God about the golden calf, erase me from your book. Now when he gives Aaron to be the high priest, he feels left out. No. We give Moses more credit than that.
Maybe Aaron's not good enough because of the golden calf.
But Hashem said to give it to Aaron, obviously it's good. Maybe it's the parsha of this week. What happened? Page 479. 679, I'm sorry, 679. In Parsha Shmini, finally came the 8th day, and the inauguration of the temple took place. And Aaron came in, and a fire from heaven came down, right? And what happened? The two sons, Nadav and Avihu, what happened to the two sons?
They went into
They were
the,
consumed by the fire.
Let's read it. Go ahead.
This is the passing of
Nadav
Nadav
and
and
Avihu.
Avihu. Each of Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, took his own fire pan. They put fire in them and placed incense on top, and they brought an extraneous fire before God, which he had not commanded them to bring. Fire came out from before God and consumed them, and they died before God.
Whoa. Nadav and Avihu were the two young leaders who were supposed to take over after Moses and Aaron. Moses and Aaron were brothers. Nadav and Avihu were brothers too. They were the next generation leadership. And what happened there? They came in, they got too excited, they took the incense, and they brought it into the Holy of Holies and they died. Moses hesitated. He knew the importance of the Ark of the Covenant. He understood the gravity of the temple, of the concept of incense, that you don't offer incense, only what God says. He says, as long as I'm in control, things will be under control. There will be no mistakes. Moses knew what they're in, what not. He said, I'm going to give over to Aaron. Not only to Aaron. I'm giving over to the young generation, to his sons. Who knows what's going to be there?
He didn't trust his nephews.
Moses, deep down, had a feeling. You know, young people get excited. It's not that he didn't trust them. They were so excited about God that they didn't have the self-control that needed to be. They had spiritual anorexia. That's what they had.
I'm trying to figure that one out.
I think they have an overabundance of zeal.
They were consumed by the love of God. That's what really happened. And Moses had a feeling it might go too far. That when he slaughtered the last animal, and that this is it, it was like, where are we going with it? Is this the right thing? He knows Hashem says that this needs to be done. But it was very hard for him, this dilemma, to give it over. Not because he wanted to be the leader, Because he was afraid you entrusting the most important thing that you have in the hand of somebody else. And you are asking yourself, does he really know what he's having in his hand? And it,
Giving Trump the nuclear code?
No, no,
no politics.
no, no.
Then what I mean to say is, he gave, but why he gave it? Because ultimately, we have to give over to the new generation, to the young generation. Even if you don't like it. Even it might be mistakes. The Rebbe, when he became a Rebbe, he established right away the Lubavitch Youth Organization. And he said it's not about the passport, it's about your spirit. And he says the youth will conquer the world. The youth will go out and they will change around. He says the people who are older, they're already set in their ways. He sent out the young people to go to every city, to every place, to open Chabad houses to change the world. And that's how he changed the world. And he's continuing to change every minute. Because you have to entrust the youth, even that sometimes, they will make a mistake. But keeping it to the old guys, keeping the kids by us, we're going nowhere with it. There is no future. This is the fourth time of the Shalsheles. These 4 Shalsheles were in the Torah. But after these 4, no more hesitations. You do what you're supposed to do.